Welcome to Split View.
Oh, wow, yeah. Welcome to Goodbye to Your Ears View.
Yeah. Welcome to Jump Scare View.
Yeah. We're, welcome to two sweaty guys sitting in a room.
What if I edit this podcast that doesn't have an intro? It's just, welcome to Split View.
No one will ever know.
I so want to do that.
No one will ever know. Welcome to two sweaty guys sitting in a room. Because we've just been playing VR.
Okay, sure.
So now we're all juicy and ready to record.
Why have we been playing VR, Jordy?
I bought myself an Oculus Rift S, that's why.
That's cool.
And Tom has a HTC Vive, the original one.
Yep.
And I decided I didn't want to just play it when I came here every week. I wanted to play it at home as well, so I bought my own one.
Yeah, we can play multiplayer VR games now.
I got excited like a supple young boy, and I was really excited, so I bought myself one. And that's the end of that story.
Okay, I almost thought we weren't recording for a second.
Oh, good fucking prank, dude.
I looked at the levels going by, and I was like, fuck, are we recording?
It is incredibly surprising to me that 18 episodes have gone by, and we haven't, accidentally hit, not hit record.
We have a couple of times, though.
Yeah, but we noticed 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
Rather than a full episode just going down the drain.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Tom is weak.
Yes.
And it's also his week.
I'm strong now, Jordy.
Yeah, he's better now.
Okay. Jordy, what is life?
Baby, don't hurt me.
No more.
No more. What is life? We've done this.
No, we haven't.
We did what is the meaning of life?
No.
Okay, what is life? All right.
What is life? What is life to you? What do you define that as?
As the progression from when you're born to when you die.
Is it?
Well, you just asked for my opinion. That's what I think it is.
I didn't ask for your fucking opinion.
Okay, what
Jordy.
is it then? Smart guy, huh?
I don't
Tough
know.
guy?
I don't know what life is.
Okay, well, thank you all for listening.
Do you know what is the goal in life, though, Jordy?
Well, that is different to everyone. Some would say it is to be, to be rich, to live a happy life, to be enriched in some way.
Was that the same when humans were just evolving from monkeys?
No.
What was their goal?
Their goal was to survive.
What is the difference between human and monkey?
And Homo erectus?
Yes.
Well, we've now outlived we don't need to
Aren't we human?
Oh, yeah, we are. I just wanted to say erectus. But at the moment, we've outlived the whole, needing to survive because of where we are. We have a...
Have we, though?
Well, we still need to survive, but we're not, trying to get away from predators or anything. Unless you count Bill Cosby or Michael Jackson. The only predators that we're trying to get away from are other people.
I'd say those damn tax collectors are predatory.
All them, dude. Yeah. It's a different type of survival now. What we do now is we don't have to worry about where we're going to get food necessarily, because we can walk down the street to a supermarket. We need to make the money to get the food, which means you need to work, which means yada yada yada. But yeah, it's different because the setting is different and our circumstances are different.
How long do you think it took for humans to evolve past that? From monkey man to human man?
Thousands and thousands of years. It's millions. It's
I wouldn't say millions.
Lots of thousands of years.
Hundreds of thousands, you might say.
Hundreds even, yeah.
200s of thousands.
And then it's kind of funny because in this past let's say 5,000 years, right?
Yeah.
We've just done quintuple as many numbers as you can multiply by the amount of things that we've done in that 5,000 years compared to all the other years that's happened.
I'd say 1,000 years.
Mostly. I was just trying to generalize a little bit more, but
it's very exponential, isn't it? It's very much a curve of technological
we've figured out
advancement.
how to just do things better, and we've just been going nuts with it.
We tricked a rock into thinking for us, dude.
Yeah.
we found this material called silicon. We fucking tricked it into computing shit for us. That is fucking insane.
The way people come up with all of this shit absolutely baffles me. I don't understand. I'm not an inventor by any means. I wasn't one of those kids who wrecked shit and put it back together again.
Okay.
I never did that, right? I just look at it and go, how the fuck did someone make that? I look at a computer, I'm like, who came up with that idea?
It's a culmination of ideas and development, Jordy.
And what I like to think about a lot is every single little thing that happened along the way is because one thing happened originally, right? So say like someone came up with the original computer chip, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then since then, now we have computers and consoles and VR, and we've got microphones, like all that shit. Like, what if one thing had changed back then? You know, like
that's interesting.
I think about that all the time. Like everything is so specific the way that the world is right now because of all the events that transpired beforehand.
You've
you know what I mean?
You've perfectly led into what I was just about to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So
Hell yeah,
you.
dude.
So how would we go about even telling whether one of those things was important? How would we know that this specific event was important? How would it really be different? You know, would life really be different if like, I don't know, fucking Albert Einstein didn't dot a one somewhere or got one equation incorrect? You know, what would have happened? How would we know?
We can't ever begin to predict what would happen, but we can. It's safe to say that if it did happen, that things would be different, no matter what. Like, no matter what happens, something has some importance. It's a butterfly effect.
Jordy, what if we advance to a point where we can simulate reality? What if we advance to a point? What if we created computing technology so advanced that we can simulate humanity from the beginning to the end?
That's a nuts idea.
Yeah. What if we could do that? What if we could just like affect things? You know. What if we could just learn what it was? You know, learn the conditions of the Big Bang and just let that go, and then we
see
could
what
observe,
happens, and then potentially see what happens if we fuck with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like, you know, what happens if you add a nice little atomic bomb in the mix? See what happens there.
Jordy, what if this reality is a simulation?
Yeah. I thought it was going here after you said that. And I have put a little too much thought into that idea.
That's good, because that's what we're talking about today.
I've had enough thought. This is something like every now and then it hits me, and it always hits me right when I'm trying to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Which means I don't often sleep from that, like, for a long time, because I'm just thinking about it, like, there's no way you could possibly know. There is no way you could possibly know if that's the case.
That's called existential panic.
Yeah, I know. And like it's the same thing as like the outer minds theory in a way. It's like you can never know. You can never know.
You like that beautiful fucking crafted segue I just set in motion there?
Yeah.
From what is life, and then it's
almost like you know how I operate.
Kind of. You fucking led perfectly into it. But yeah, so today we're talking about simulation and whether we are in a simulation, whether we would know what would happen and all that. Jordy, honestly, do you think we are in a simulation?
I don't think so.
How would you know?
I wouldn't. But like, it would. If I'm trying to think about it right now, right? If you were the creator of the simulation, right?
Yes.
What would you do? I would want to be known that I was there in some way, right? You would come up with the idea of God.
I was just about to say that,
wouldn't you?
Yep.
Like you would
I have that in my notes.
You would use something. You would not call it God or whatever, but in this case, that's what we'll say, right? Some all-powerful being that you don't want to piss off, right? Something to keep you all in check.
Yeah.
And you know, some people are starting to rebel against that. You know, at first everyone followed it, but as you know, they let the simulation run. People started going, hang on, what happens if we don't believe? Nothing happens. We can do this now. And now people create their own religions and shit. Like, it's funny because if in the simulation they have the freedom to do whatever they want, every time you ran it, it would be completely different.
I don't think so. Computers are like inherently kind of procedural. Like you can...
If you don't think of it from like a computer limitation standpoint, unless that's what you want to go from.
But like
if we have a computer that can simulate the entirety of reality from start to end, it wouldn't have limitations like that.
I've thought about this, right? I've thought about this, and other people have thought about this. So one of the main arguments against us being in a simulation is that computers can't simulate that kind of thing. Computers can't simulate quanta. Well, there's an inherent energy constant thing. Like basically, you can't transfer energy between two like finite points without like a delay. So you'd have to, instead of making a computer faster, you'd have to make it bigger, I guess.
Right.
Physically bigger, or other way around maybe. But I was thinking about that. Right. What if the aliens' world that is simulating us is completely different to ours? What if our version of physics is actually the dumbed-down version of their physics that's capable of being simulated?
Wow, that's a nuts idea.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What if... Because Do you know about quantum mechanics? Like, do you know
I
what
mean, from what you've told me over the years, like little snippets, not much.
Yeah.
Explain it for everyone listening in a layman way.
So quantum mechanics is like this ethereal magic kind of shit. It is literally the closest thing to magic. It is an insane concept. Like there's atoms, there's quarks, there's protons, and all that. The deepest layer is called quanta. Quanta is like this fabric that is just, it's ever present. It doesn't conform to physics. It doesn't conform to time, relativity, anything. Like it's there or it's not.
Right.
And measuring it affects it. Like you've heard of Schrodinger's cat, that kind of meme.
Yeah.
Started by popularized by Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, but that's no, it's not Heisenberg's uncertainty. It's quantum something. There's a word for it.
Entanglement.
Entanglement's a different thing, but
it's the only other big word I know.
I guess quantum measurement, but essentially, in quanta, particles can be in multiple superposition. It's called quantum superposition. That's what it is.
Right. Particles
can be in multiple finite states simultaneously, or indefinitely, or instantaneously. So, you've maybe heard that light can be a wave or a particle. Maybe?
Yeah.
So, do you know kind of what that means for physicality wise?
Not really.
So if you think of light from the sun, right? How does it get to Earth?
Through rays and UV rays and
photons,
stuff?
right?
Yeah.
Photons.
Sure.
Photons come from the sun. They take 8 minutes to travel. They hit us. So if a game wants to simulate light, it simulates it as a particle, like a ray, a line bouncing around the room and then ending. But recently in physics, it was discovered that light can be a wave also. Light can be like the dissonation of energy flowing throughout the universe. Like it can be like a sound wave. Sound waves are bound by the medium that they travel through, whereas light particles can go through any medium. That's why we can see space, but we can't hear it. Because waves need a medium to travel through. Waves are like the progression of energy. And one funky thing is that light can be both, and it can be none. Or it can be one, or it could be the other. What? It depends on how you measure it. It's this wacky science. And like Einstein is on record, you've probably heard, saying he refutes it. Not that he refutes it, he just doesn't want to get into that. He's been so stuck in his
hole.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Multiple NASA astronauts have said they've failed in quantum physics multiple times trying to be an astronaut, just since it's such you're taught this physics system of formulas and equations for figuring out finite measurements, and then you just introduce the whole system that flips on its head.
Yeah.
And this is the freakiest part. So quanta is like this magical kind of thing. It doesn't seem real. It seems like there's something going on behind it. It's just the output of some sort of black box that you can't see into. And one of the other things that really kind of says to me that this is a simulation is something called quantum measurement. So I said it depends on how you measure something, depends on how you measure light, whether it's a particle or a wave.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not measuring something in quantum physics, it doesn't exist. So you know that old adage of if a tree falls in the wood, and no one's there to hear it. Yeah,
yeah.
In quantum physics, that tree doesn't exist if no one's there to hear it.
Huh.
And what does that remind you of?
Game?
Exactly.
That's not
a
rendering
game engine
something if you're not looking at it.
To save performance, it's not rendering something if you can't see it.
Jeez.
Do you know what I mean?
I've also thought about that as well.
Yeah.
Like the whole if I'm not looking at something, I literally can't know if it's actually there behind me, right? And it's just I have to force myself not to think about it, because it just the more I think about all this shit, it just makes me feel like Albert Einstein, the way Albert Einstein looks.
Yeah,
that's the way I feel when I stop or just everywhere I'm a fucking madman.
Yeah.
And
Isn't
except I'm not proving anything, and I'm not going down in history. I'm just a fucking madman.
Okay.
You know, no one's gonna have pictures of me with my tongue out on their wall when
you could kill someone, Jordy.
die in this simulation.
Bunch of fangirls would
fangirls. Yeah. I have lots of them.
There are girls that admire fucking Ted Bundy, dude.
Well, that's
And
true.
Charles Manson.
That's true.
You're their
That really
idol.
does put perspective on things,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Yep.
I just need to kill some people.
I just need to kill some people, dude. Just
I
need to
already
kill some
killed
people.
5, so that's all right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean about this kind of quantum thing? Like,
I mean, sort of. I mean, I'm not a fucking scientist by any
these
means.
like concepts, like we are just now getting into quantum computing, which relies on this measurement system. Basically, for something not to be measured, it has to have nothing touching it, interacting with it, or anything. Light can't hit it. It can't transfer temperature. Nothing has to interact with it. So the tree would technically be measured since it's touching something.
Yeah.
And that ground is touching something. Like, it's a whole chain of measurement, this temperature. So these quantum computers, you'll basically never have one in your hand unless, like, instant cooling technology is invented, because these quantum computers have to be cooled to exactly 0 Kelvin. They have to be, like, the coldest place on Earth, completely isolated, no light, nothing, just electrical signals, so that they can kind of calculate these kind of things. Basically, a quantum computer can output every simultaneous possibility at once. If you put in one like sequence, it outputs every single variation.
What if that's what's in the Earth's core, dude?
Quanta?
Just a massive Earth scale quantum computer that's just controlling everyone.
I guess. Okay.
That's why you can't go there, because
Quantum Earth.
because it stops you, dude. The simulation stops you. You've reached the game wall.
Maybe the mantle of the Earth is hot because that's the hot side of the heat exchanger,
Yeah, there you go.
and the
See?
center is cold.
Let's start a new movement. The
Quantum Earth.
Quantum Earth movement.
Yeah.
Not flat Earth, Quantum Earth. That's what I'm behind now.
Yeah.
I'm a quantum earther. Thank you very much.
The NSA's down there using quantum physics to crack encryption keys.
And all the fucking like CIA agents listening
Yeah.
to this, they're about to take us out because we know too much now.
There is an algorithm called Shor's algorithm, which can be used to crack encryption keys using quantum computers. It can use a quantum computer to crack our YubiKeys in less than a day.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a
How
real
many
thing.
quantum computers are there? Are there like...
Oh, there's a bunch.
Really?
They're not that complex. I think the most complex one is like IBM something. I guess Microsoft or Google recently came out and they literally announced quantum supremacy. That's what they said.
That's a fucking sentence to say
Yeah,
there.
that's literally what it's called when you can calculate something faster than a conventional computer.
Quantum supremacy.
But the thing is, Microsoft has criticized them because it might be Microsoft who's claimed quantum supremacy, but IBM or whoever, they've refuted it because so what it was, they were comparing, I think it was Fibonacci sequence or something like that. They used a traditional computer, like a data center supercomputer, to generate a Fibonacci sequence or whatever it was. And they used a quantum computer to generate the same thing. And the quantum computer did it faster, right?
Right.
But the thing is, they were criticized for unoptimizing the conventional computer's code. They just didn't bother. They made the conventional computer unoptimized so it wouldn't run as fast.
Ah, so
Or they
it's like
neglected
faking the
to.
results, kind of.
Not faking, just being neglectful.
Ensuring a little bit that they're better.
Kinda.
Yeah.
It's dubious whether it's done intentionally, but if you're if you're a programmer doing that, you want to get it fucking right, dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
You want to optimize that shit, so... Yeah, that's a nice little alleyway to go into, but
Yeah.
what I was saying with this quantum stuff is that it's a weird, wacky physics system that it's hard to determine. So to me, that's like the optimization of this alien computer, right?
Yeah.
This is like this glue layer that they have had because their physics system is so complex that it can't be simulated on their computers. So they have to use like quanta as like a shortcut for simulating our reality, you know?
Man, you're fucking getting to me now with all this shit.
And you mentioned something about God, right?
Yeah.
So why would these aliens want to simulate Earth? Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to simulate... Like, I'm assuming that these aliens are us, just highly advanced, and they want to simulate something that happened in the past. Why would they want to do that?
The irony is like, if it was me, I would do it for fun. Like,
probably do.
Like,
That's
like a game, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would do it just to see what happens. It's like the most intricate game of Age of Empires or
Yeah,
fucking Civ,
the ultimate
Civ
God
28
simulator game.
that you can ever play, right? Like, it's I don't know, like, unless it was a genuine history lesson or something, they just wanted to see what would happen if a specific gene section, like humanoids were to live, what would happen? You know, like it's such a specific thing to come up with in my head. Like why you would want us to be like bipedal things that talk and look funny and whatever. Like in all reality, if it is an alien thing, they look completely different to us, right? You have to come up with this idea.
I was thinking that the aliens look like us, like they're physically the same as us, just more advanced, and they can simulate us because that quantum glue layer is just like the deepest part. Like their physics, their base physics, like elements and all that work the same as ours. It's just the deeper stuff is different.
Or what if they had like, they're from like a different solar system.
Yeah.
They came to ours and simulated to see if life could live on a planet with certain specifications.
I guess so.
And then they could run like different things to see like if this certain fish evolved, what would happen, right? It turns into people, and then we fuck it all up in like 10 years with emissions and like just completely fuck our planet, right? Maybe this is one of the bad simulations where lots of war and all that shit.
But like aliens want to simulate us because they want to figure out something, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, these godly acts are them kind of putting us into the path that they want, right?
Sure.
They want like certain events to happen because maybe they won't happen normally, you know? So maybe that's what God is. God is like alien intervention.
It's almighty intervention.
Simulation intervention.
Yeah, it very well could be, because I mean, there's proof that a guy named Jesus lived like 2,000 years ago or whatever, right? That's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
The rest is just stories told down the way, right? You could easily pin that on anyone.
I think we talked in the religious podcast that at one point the Bible was being communicated orally.
Oh yeah, it was entirely word of mouth.
Yeah.
And like one word
because books were banned or something.
Yeah, one word changed down the line. It's like Chinese whispers, if you ever played that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every single person you tell it to is going to tell it slightly differently.
Yeah.
And if you just set in like one of the original people, let's say, the ideals that you want, like a big fucking scary guy in the sky that's going to come down. You're primitive at this point, right?
Yeah.
And you say that's going to carry on, right? You're going to be scared until you slowly realize and your brain develops that maybe it's okay to not believe in the sky Satan. That's going to come
Sky
down.
Satan?
That's going to
Do you mean ground Satan?
Oh, well, they don't know it's ground Satan yet.
Okay.
That storyline comes later.
That comes in Bible V2.
That comes in the Bible DLC. Satanic DLC.
That comes in the free update.
Yeah.
I kind of talked about how old the Earth was, right? Like how old humans are, right? The number that I found was 200,000 years.
The entire Earth is 2,000.
No. Humans.
I was going to say, I don't think that's right.
From Monkers.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that freaky? That what the fuck were humans doing for 199,000 years?
Yeah, that's a bit. I've thought about this too. This is nuts that you're bringing all this up in one like sort of thing, because it's like we only know what happens now. That's what I think about when I start thinking about if we're in a simulation or not. Because like we just sort of exist now. Nothing happened before, really.
Yeah.
Things are happening now, but I can only know me living now.
Yeah.
So how, like what the fuck were they doing? It's like they just couldn't be bothered to add a backstory to this. Like
it just seems like
it's like some big god created everything in a day, right? Seventh day he took a rest, whatever. He made everything in one day. Yada 2 million years later, whatever. Just skip over that. Dinosaurs, they die, whatever. We don't even know yet. And now here we are. I was just in VR before, right?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck did you do back then?
How old are the pyramids?
They are a few thousand years old, I think. Like they're not 1,000, maybe 100, but
to me it just seems like humans existed.
I am so scared to say facts now because I know people who will actively yell at me or yell at their cars.
Well, it doesn't matter for this kind of timescale, but so humans evolved, they can interact with things.
Yeah.
They can shape the earth. It just seems like there isn't enough things on the earth that have been shaped by humans,
Yeah.
Until recent 2,000, 3,000 years ago.
It was like no one had any ideas or had no ability to act on anything before then.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the earth should look like fucking 2B2T Spawn.
Yeah.
It should just be...
It should.
An unrecognizable, mush of, shit,
if we're supposed to like believe history in this simulation world, is that like war was a massive fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
War was
That's the only reason.
No, even like back from like tribal times, if you want to say, right?
They couldn't
It was like
coordinate that big of a war,
territory.
though.
It was
Yeah.
like, you know, everything was just got bigger and bigger scale as people
Yeah.
got more and more intricate, like, and more developed. And now we have fucking atomic bombs, which could, if in the right hands, or wrong hands, I should say,
Yeah.
not right hands, I don't know why I said that, in the wrong hands, it just, like, literally destroy the planet.
Yeah.
Just actively, just immediately destroy the planet.
Do you know what I'm like saying? Like, for 190, I guess 190,000
like,
years, humans didn't shape the Earth. They just didn't.
Yeah.
Until
because
the last,
we lived off it, until we decided that it wasn't enough, right?
not even accidentally, just
Like, we just had to. We didn't know. And then we were like, hang on, if we mix this flint and a
Yeah,
rock,
yeah.
we get sparks. Okay, that's making some fire. All right. Oh, that's damaging our world. We shouldn't do that, right?
yeah.
But we also needed to stay warm and keep off predators and shit. And then we go, well, what if we could build something that would keep the harsh rays out?
Yeah,
Maybe barricade us in, right? So we build a house or a house-like structure at the time. And then we go, what if we could burn this clay, right? Whatever, we can make bricks or what, I don't know how you can actually make bricks, but, you know, like, it just
fire clay,
goes,
Jordy.
every now and then someone accidentally lights some clay on fire. And they
Yeah.
goes, oh, that's hard now, right? And then and it catches on. I don't know how it all caught on, though. That's the part that, like, how does one person who accidentally discovers this or whatever eventually lead to this entire world now living in houses that are almost all the same,
Word
right?
of mouth, Geordie.
I guess, but like in
How
different
does-
countries, how in different countries, before you could easily
Yeah.
travel to a different country, did this happen?
How did the Bomba fucking decoding machine spiral into this laptop I have in front of me, Geordie? A single guy inventing that. How did it spiral into the world being covered in computers?
Exactly. It doesn't make any, like, weapons and stuff. Everyone came up with the idea of weapons getting better and better, and now guns, they're all very similar, right?
Yeah.
And countries apart. Like, how does it happen? Like, they all work the same. They all do the sort of same. Some of them even look exactly the fucking same, right? But it's just miles apart between it, and it still happens, right? I don't get it. You're getting me into some fucking rabbit holes now,
Okay.
dude.
Geordie, the question I think most people want answered and that we haven't discussed, did aliens do 9/11?
Well, if this is a simulation, technically they did.
What if that just had to happen? What if they want, like, they
See
come...
how we would react in that situation.
What if they come from a time before 9/11, well, where 9/11
I really
didn't
thought
happen?
you were going to say, what if they came from a land down under?
Okay, what...
I don't know. I just...
Dude, what if
I heard
that's
the
the
intro to
mistake
that
that
song,
happened?
but-
What if that's the mistake? What if they wanted, like, what if that just caused them to run the simulation, that song existing?
Oh, well, that's possible, I guess, in some
Yeah.
very strange world.
Do you know what I mean? Though? Like,
Well,
what?
that's an interesting thing to think about. Sorry, like, we'll go back to yours as well, but, like, we made up music.
Okay,
Like how
just shit's made up, dude.
well,
Shit's not even real.
If you live in a world that doesn't have music,
Yeah.
all we're doing is just making combinations of sounds that we like. It's fucking weird,
I guess, yeah.
right? We're combining sounds
Humans,
that we can generate.
our brains accept those sounds though as good feelings.
Yeah, and
so
then it goes through and we go, that's nice.
it's a matter of time before we figure out
But
what
even that's
human brain
changed.
likes.
Because if we showed fucking Skrillex to Bach, he wouldn't hear it, would he? Because he's deaf, isn't he?
I don't think so.
One of them's deaf, Mozart or something.
It is definitely Mozart who's
Okay.
deaf.
Okay. Well, if you showed it to like a classical person who isn't deaf,
Yeah.
they would be like, "This is fucking terrible." And if you showed it to someone now, if it was Skrillex, they'd say it was
Would they
fucking terrible.
recognize it
but
as music?
probably they would just go like, "This is too intense. Like, how are you? This
Just
BPM is
sounds.
nuts. This like it's everything." Well, they wouldn't say this BPM is nuts,
All
but
they had was fucking piano and like string instruments.
exactly, it's like it would just blow their fucking brain holes, right?
Yeah.
And we just came up with that. We decided that there was enough people that liked that people Skrillex kept making music. Skrillex made Bangarang
It's our fault.
because of us liking it.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That it do be like that.
What is the next Skrillex going to be? That's the question everyone wants to know.
I don't know. That's terrifying. What, like
In the
next dubstep producer?
Yeah, the next the next 100 years. What's the next like thing that we'll look back at and go, that's fucking nuts?
fucking
yeah,
know.
there's no way you could really know that. That's
Yeah.
a silly question. What were you saying before? I got interested in Skrillex.
Aliens did 9/11.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what if they started... Oh, actually, here's another thing I haven't thought about. What if we are in a simulation within a simulation?
Okay, now
What
you're
about
just going
that?
like that one, like Richard and Mortimer episode.
No. What if we are? What, like, that's a possibility. What if the original aliens that fucking are simulating us didn't know they were simulated themselves?
Oh man, now you're just breaking some ground.
What if the universe as a concept is just inherent to our simulation? What if that just doesn't exist?
Fuck.
What if the universe isn't infinite in like layer zero? What if it's just this finite thing that?
I
You know?
mean, if that was the case, right? If you wanted to contain it,
Yeah,
you would make it extremely difficult and an extremely long time before we could leave it, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, that's what's been happening. We've been alive for 200,000 years. We've only just really started to leave the planet that we're on, and we're not even getting very far. You know, we're only just now thinking about moving to Mars because we've fucked up our planet so goddamn much. And thinking about it is all we can do, because let's face it, we're not getting there anytime soon. I don't even think in our lifetime are we going to go to another planet and actively live there.
I think we are.
Yeah, but like the trip is going to be so long.
We should get fusion in like 5 or 10 years. So
Oh well, let's hope, right?
yeah, that'll open up a bunch of gateways, more power.
Open up the aliens' eyes.
Yes.
So they can maybe they just want to learn about some technology. Like if they let us come up with shit for long enough, maybe they'll go, we haven't thought of that. Write that down.
Okay.
Bloggle snatch. Write that down.
What if that? Well, they could speed up the simulation. So what if that is the point? What if the point is?
We just keep running tests until we come up with something interesting.
What if
we
they
can study.
come from a time like in like 100 years or so? What if they aren't that advanced, but they want to? It's like a cheating way for them. They want to discover what comes next, so they simulate our universe perfectly
It would work.
and then speed it up so that they go past their timeline and see what we invent.
If you could do it, it would work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I had the ability to do so, I would do so. Wouldn't you? Would you do it?
Would it be cruel though?
Yeah.
These
Yeah, it
people
would be.
feel alive.
They think they're real, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually they have to be switched off,
But,
Jody.
I mean, they're not living life at that fast speed, though, would they be? Technically?
No. It'd be just
I
like
think
this.
it's just, like, that's fine. If you run it at full speed or whatever, like, they still feel like they're living their life fine, and they don't know any different.
But eventually it has to be turned off. People will be alive when it turns off.
I mean, people will live and people will die, right?
yeah.
Like, think about this realistically.
This whole world of culture technology is just gone.
If you were sitting in front of a computer,
Yeah.
the laptop you're sitting in front of right now, if that was simulating it, the longer you sat there, the less you would feel about the people in the simulation. At first, no, you would.
Okay.
At first, you would go like, oh shit, like this is crazy, look at them, what they're doing. And the hours and the months and whatever that you sat there, eventually you wouldn't care about turning it off, I don't think. Because it wouldn't feel real.
I think I would get more invested the longer I sit there.
I don't think I would still be interested, but I wouldn't be like, when the more people you saw die
Yeah.
in your simulation, is a better way of phrasing it, the better you would feel about
I guess it's cruel to simulate
when you had to turn it off.
because you're simulating like
Well, that's true. That's a better question.
you're
Should we
simulating
simulate it at
death
all?
and like families' loss of like fucking members and all that. So I don't know. It's weird. There's no good answers to that.
No, like it's something to think about for you people at
Yeah.
home for sure.
I feel like that's a good wrapping up point. About 30 minutes or so. Kind of
Okay.
a shorter one, but
Yeah, well, every now and then we're just going to leave you with something extremely dire and existential to think about.
It's a rich episode though. Like
Yeah.
not very many low points.
So, to sum it all up, everyone, you're not real. You are being controlled by a divine
Elon Musk
intervention.
thinks we're in a simulation.
Well, and he's one of the smartest of us, isn't he? He wants to make anime cat girls real, and he put a fucking Alita Battle Angel on a rocket.
Yeah.
And that is all that we need to know for pure intelligence out of a man.
Okay, bye.
Okay.